Morning to you, Belle. Really, she's got very few bargaining chips left. She's heading off for these meetings with Angela Merkel and Emmanuel Macron, asking them for more time. But they want, if they are to give her more time, her to come back with a kind of a fully baked Brexit pie and don't simply come back with even more fudge. And then she continues to talk to the Labour Party. Her officials will lead those talks while she's away, but we heard there from Jeremy Corbyn the sense that her red lines is simply not change, and she's shown no willingness to compromise. We know what would achieve a compromise between the two main parties here. That would be a customs union, but of course deleting that red line would be a red flag to the hard Brexit faction of her party. So too, of course, is this long extension, which appears to be inevitable now. So she really is boxed into a corner and heading to Brussels to talk to the wider group of EU leaders tomorrow for what's being described in the newspapers here as a humiliating summit, where she will be pleading for more time and told that if more time is to be granted, the UK has to behave and remain a constructive rather than a destructive member of the EU.
Now, with a no deal being blocked by the UK's Parliament, what does that mean happens next? Presumably, it is literally just a question of how long an extension is granted.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it has to be stressed as well that Theresa May has kind of taken no deal off the table herself, even if it remains the legal default. If no deal is achieved by Friday and no extension is given, it's still being talked about in EU capitals and also by the hard Brexit faction of her party who want it. But the mantra coming from Downing Street these days is that MPs, whenever they finally get a choice again, will be deciding between the withdrawal agreement or perhaps no Brexit at all. That, I think, a veiled threat to revoke Article 50. But I think the word we're all getting more used to saying here and warming up in our mouths is this new one, flextension, that we heard come from Donald Tusk just a few days ago. That being the idea of a deal that is long enough to give breathing space, or an extension long enough to give the breathing space to get a deal, but also flexible enough that it can be cut short as soon as a deal is done. And assuming that is the case, well, then the next milestone on the horizon are the European elections. And, you know, will the various parties here engage constructively? How will they approach them? How will Theresa May approach them? Or indeed, will she be the one leading the Conservative Party into them?